The maitre d' led us to our usual corner table at Bellini's, where my mother was already critiquing the wine list through her reading glasses. Some things never change, like the way she barely glanced up when I arrived, or how the empty chair beside her would stay vacant until Caden decided to grace us with his presence. My name is Ava, and I've spent 29 years perfecting the art of being invisible to my own family. Darling, you're late, my mother said, still studying the wine list, though I suppose that's to be expected when you insist on taking the bus. I slid into my seat across from Eugene, my stepfather, who was absorbed in his phone. I wasn't late. I was exactly on time. Well, you weren't early, she sighed, finally looking up. Her eyes did their usual disapproving scan of my outfit: thrifted blazer, simple black dress, practical flats. And what happened to that lovely designer bag we got you for Christmas? It's at home. I didn't mention that I'd sold it on Poshmark to help cover my rent deposit. Where's Caden? Oh, you know your brother, Eugene finally spoke, pocketing his phone. He's probably still at the dealership. Very exciting day for him. My stomach clenched. Dealership? Yes, he's picking up his new McLaren, my mother beamed. The metallic green one he's had his eye on. Eugene made it happen with that family investment fund we set up. The world tilted sideways. The the fund that was supposed to be for my house down payment. Now, Eva, Eugene's voice took on that patronizing tone I knew too well. We discussed this. The market timing wasn't right for property investment. Caden needed reliable transportation. He has 3 other cars. The words burst out louder than I intended. A couple at the next table glanced over. Lower your voice, my mother hissed. We're in public. That fund was promised to me. I've been working 2 jobs, saving every penny. And we're very proud of your work ethic, Eugene cut in smoothly. But sometimes as parents, we have to make executive decisions. You'll understand when you have children of your own. My hands were shaking under the table. I'm your child too, or did you forget that part? Don't be dramatic, my mother sighed. Besides, Caden has responsibilities, social obligations. Here he is now. Eugene's face lit up as Caden strutted toward our table, designer clothes perfectly tailored, not a hair out of place. Sorry I'm late, family. He dropped into the chair beside our mother, who immediately started fussing over his tie. You should see this car. 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds. Want to take a ride after dinner, sis? I stood up so abruptly my water glass tipped over. I have to go. Ava! My mother's sharp voice followed me as I grabbed my purse. You're being incredibly rude. Probably just jealous, I heard Caden say as I walked away. You know how she gets. I made it outside before the tears started. My hands were trembling so badly I could barely unlock my phone. I scrolled through my contacts until I found the number I hadn't called in 2 years. David, it's Ava. Remember how you said to call if I ever needed anything? I took a shaky breath. I need your help looking into some family accounts. There was a pause on the other end. When David spoke, his voice was careful, measured. The Romero Gray holdings? I actually have them pulled up right now. Something triggered an alert in our system this morning. They took my house fund and gave it to Caden for a car. That's interesting. David's typing clicked in the background. Because from where I'm sitting, they didn't just touch your fund. They moved everything. My tears dried instantly. What do you mean, everything? Multiple accounts, offshore transfers, and Ava? He paused. There's something else. A trust from your grandmother that was redistributed recently. A cold clarity settled over me as I watched Caden's new green McLaren gleam under the restaurant's valet lights. Tell me everything, I said. Are you sure? Once you start pulling this thread. I thought about all the times I'd swallowed my anger, made myself smaller, accepted their excuses. 29 years of being the good daughter, the understanding one, the afterthought. I'm sure, I said. It's time they learned what it feels like to lose everything. David's office smelled like expensive leather and coffee. Through floor-to-ceiling windows, Manhattan sparkled 40 stories below, but my attention was fixed on the screens covering his desk. See these transactions? He pointed to a series of numbers. Regular transfers every month from your grandmother's original trust. But look at the destination accounts. I leaned closer. They're all going to Caden. Every penny. David pulled up another document. According to the original trust agreement, it was meant to be split equally between all grandchildren. But somehow, 2 years ago, the entire thing was redirected. 2 years ago? My throat tightened. That's when Grandma was in hospice. Exactly. He swiveled to face me. Eva, this isn't just about your house fund anymore. We're talking serious money and potentially serious fraud. My phone buzzed. Carmen again. I silenced it. Show me everything, I said. For the next hour, David walked me through a maze of financial documents, offshore accounts, shell companies, investment vehicles I'd never heard of. With each revelation, memories surfaced. Caden's first car at 16 while I took the bus to my after-school job. His luxury apartment in college while I worked nights as a barista. The family vacation I couldn't afford to join. Your friend keeps calling, David noted as my phone lit up again. I finally answered. Carmen, I'm in a meeting. Ava, you need to stop this. Her voice was tight with concern. I just ran into Caden at the coffee shop. He's saying you're trying to destroy the family. Funny how family matters when their money's involved. Just move on, please, for your own sake. I ended the call and turned back to David. There's something else you're not telling me. He hesitated, then pulled up a final document. This is the amendment that changed your grandmother's trust. Look at the notary stamp. I squinted at the signature. Maria Rodriguez? I had my team check. No notary by that name was registered in the state that year. The stamp number doesn't exist. The implications hit me like a physical blow. They forged it. While she was dying, they forged her signature and stole everything. Eva, David's voice was gentle. Are you sure you want to pursue this? These kinds of family battles get ugly fast. I thought about dinner last night, about 29 years of being told I wasn't enough, wasn't worthy, wasn't trying hard enough. About my grandmother's final weeks when Eugene had insisted on handling all the paperwork so we could focus on family. Can you give me a few days? I asked. David's fingers hovered over his keyboard. You want me to freeze everything? Not yet. First, I need you to introduce me to someone who can dig deeper, someone discreet. He nodded slowly. I know just the person. Jasper Adams. He's a forensic accountant who specializes in estate fraud. But Ava. He caught my eye. Once we start this, there's no going back. Your family will never forgive you. I smiled, but there was no warmth in it. Funny thing about forgiveness, it requires someone to care about losing you in the first place. My phone buzzed again. A text from my mother. Dinner at the club tomorrow night. Wear something appropriate. Caden's bringing his new girlfriend. I showed it to David. How long would it take to freeze their accounts? With the right documentation, I could have everything locked by morning. I thought about Caden's smirk at dinner, my mother's dismissive glances, Eugene's condescending pat on my shoulder as he explained why my brother deserved my future. Do it, I said, and David, thank you. I know this puts you in an awkward position. He shook his head. I've managed their money for years, Eva. I've seen how they operate. Sometimes justice needs a little help. As I left his office, another memory surfaced. My grandmother, weak but clear-eyed in her hospital bed, pressing something into my hand. "Keep this safe," she'd whispered. "There's a letter?" But Eugene had rushed in then, shooing me away, insisting Grandma needed rest. I never saw what she tried to give me. I pulled out my phone and dialed Carmen back. "I know you're worried," I said before she could speak, "but I need you to trust me. This isn't about revenge anymore. It's about truth." "Just be careful," she sighed. "You know they'll fight back." "Let them." I watched the sun set over the city, painting the buildings in shades of green like Caden's new car. They're about to learn that the daughter they never saw coming is the one they should have feared all along. Tomorrow, their perfect world would start to crumble, and I would be ready. The first call came at 7:13 a.m. I watched my mother's name flash across my phone screen as I steamed milk for a customer's latte. By 8:45, I had 17 missed calls and 32 text messages. I read them during my break, each one more frantic than the last. "Eva, call immediately." "Something's wrong with the accounts." "Your father can't access anything." "Answer your phone." I turned my phone off and finished my morning shift at the coffee shop. By the time I met Jasper Adams at his downtown office, social media was already buzzing with rumors about the Romero Gray family's sudden financial crisis. "They've been busy this morning," Jasper said, sliding a folder across his desk. "Multiple attempts to access frozen accounts, 3 calls to their lawyer, and one very interesting visit to a safety deposit box." I opened the folder. What was in the box? "That's the thing." Jasper leaned forward, his eyes bright with interest. "According to bank records, Eugene emptied that same box the day after your grandmother died. But today he spent 45 minutes trying to access it again." "Looking for something he thought was still there?" "Exactly." Jasper pulled up a document on his tablet. "Now look at this. It's the notary log from the day your grandmother's trust was amended. The timestamp shows 3:45 p.m. "So?" "According to hospital records, your grandmother was in emergency surgery at 3:45 p.m. that day, unless she managed to sign legal documents while under anesthesia." My coffee went cold as Jasper walked me through his findings. Eugene's financial web was more tangled than I'd imagined. Shell companies, hidden accounts, and a pattern of redistributed inheritances going back years. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Sarah Harris, the family lawyer. "Ava, dear." Her voice dripped with artificial warmth. "We seem to have a situation. Your parents are very concerned." "I bet they are." "Now, I'm sure this is all just a misunderstanding. Why don't you come to my office? We can sort this out like family." "Family?" I laughed. Funny how I'm suddenly family when the money stops flowing. "Eva, tell Eugene to check his email. The forensic accountant's report should be arriving any minute." I hung up as Jasper hit send on the report. 30 pages detailing every suspicious transaction, every forged document, every manipulated trust. "They'll try to bury this," he warned. "Let them try." I stood up. "I need to get to my other job." "You're still working? Even now?" "The best revenge is living well, right?" I grabbed my bag. "Besides, I want them to know exactly where to find me." I was halfway through my afternoon design project when Carmen burst into my small home office. "Your mother just called me in tears," she said. "She says you're destroying the family, that Eugene might have a heart attack from the stress." "Funny how stress works," I replied, not looking up from my screen. "I've been stressed for 29 years, but nobody seemed worried about my health." "Eva," she sat down heavily, "what are you hoping to achieve?" Before I could answer, my phone lit up with a text from David. "Eugene just tried to liquidate his offshore accounts. Too late. Everything's locked." Another message popped up, this one from my mother. "The country club canceled our membership. How could you do this to us?" I showed Carmen the messages. They're not angry that they stole from me. They're angry they got caught. Still, the door slammed open. Caden stood there, face red, designer clothes wrinkled. "What did you do?" he shouted. "My card just got declined at Le Bernardin. Do you know how humiliating that was?" I kept my voice calm. "Almost as humiliating as taking the bus to work while watching your brother drive a new McLaren bought with your house fund. That money was meant for me. Dad promised." "Dad promised a lot of things." I pulled up the trust documents on my screen. "Want to see what else he promised? Like Grandma's entire estate?" Caden's face went pale. "You don't understand." "I understand perfectly. You and Eugene thought nobody would notice, nobody would check. After all, who would listen to Eva, right? The invisible daughter, the family disappointment." "I'll sue you," he sputtered. "We'll all sue you." "With what money?" I turned back to my work. "Better start learning to live like the rest of us, brother. I hear the bus is running on time today." He stormed out, nearly knocking over Carmen, who watched him go with wide eyes. "Ava," she whispered, "what happens next?" I thought about the documents Jasper had found, the trails of fraud leading back years, the web of lies about to unravel. "Next," I smiled, "next we find out what was in that safety deposit box, because whatever it was, Eugene is terrified we'll find it." I spent the weekend documenting everything, every dismissive text, every canceled plan, every family vacation I wasn't invited to. My apartment floor disappeared under stacks of bank statements and credit card bills, proof of working through college while Caden's tuition appeared magically in his account each semester. "Look at this," I said to Carmen, who'd brought coffee in concern. I showed her a photo from my graduation. "Notice anything?" She studied the image. "They're not even looking at you." "They're watching Caden play with his phone." This was during my valedictorian speech. My phone buzzed. David's text read, "Eugene's trying to access emergency funds. Should I block those too?" "Do it," I replied. Carmen set down her coffee. "Ava, I found something you should see." She pulled up an old social media post, a photo from 3 years ago. My grandmother at her last birthday holding an envelope. The caption read, "Special delivery for my special girl." "I remember that day," I said. "Eugene insisted on handling all her mail because she was too confused to deal with it." "Look at the envelope." Carmen zoomed in. "It's addressed to you." My hands started shaking. "I never got it." "Maybe it's still in storage. You kept some boxes from her house, right?" Before I could answer, my phone rang. Sarah Harris again. "Ava, this has gone far enough." Her voice had lost its artificial sweetness. "Eugene is willing to be generous if you stop this nonsense immediately." "Generous?" I laughed. "Like when he generously stole my grandmother's trust?" "That's a serious accusation. One I can prove. Want to see the forged notary stamp?" Silence. "I thought so," I continued. "By the way, how much did Eugene pay you to look the other way?" "You're making a mistake," she hissed. "Your father—" "Stepfather. Has powerful friends. This won't end well for you." "Funny," I said. "I was about to say the same thing to you." I hung up and turned to Carmen. "Help me go through those storage boxes." 3 hours later, we'd emptied 6 boxes of my grandmother's belongings. No envelope. "Maybe Eugene found it first," Carmen suggested. "No." I picked up a small jewelry box. Grandma was smart. If she wanted me to have something important. The box's false bottom popped open easily. Inside lay a sealed envelope yellowed with age. "Oh, my God!" Carmen leaned closer. "Open it." My hands trembled as I broke the seal. Inside was a letter and a set of documents. "My dearest Ava," I read aloud, If you're reading this, my suspicions about Eugene were correct. I've enclosed proof of the original trust agreement and a new, properly notarized version naming you as sole beneficiary. Eugene thinks he's clever, but I've been watching him manipulate this family for years. Don't let him take what's yours. Love, Grandma. Carmen grabbed the documents. These are legitimate. Notary stamp, witnesses, everything. She knew. My voice cracked. She knew what he was doing, and she tried to protect me. My phone buzzed again. A text from my mother. Eugene's been called in for questioning by the SEC. How dare you do this to our family? I forwarded the message to David, adding, "Time to release those offshore transaction records?" His reply was immediate. "Already done. Check the news." The headline appeared seconds later. "Prominent business figure under investigation for financial fraud and trust manipulation." Carmen read over my shoulder. "Ava, they'll come after you for this." "Let them." I gathered the documents. "I'm done being the family's secret." Another text arrived, this one from Caden. "They're repossessing my car, my apartment, everything. Are you happy now?" I thought about all the times I'd watched him get everything I worked for, everything I dreamed of, how he'd smirked and called me jealous, bitter, ungrateful. "Actually," I typed back, "I am." "You're heartless," he replied. "No," I wrote, "I'm just finally visible." Carmen touched my arm. "What now?" I held up my grandmother's letter. "Now we take these to Jasper, then to the SEC, and then I buy myself a house with my own money, and I never look back." My phone lit up one last time. Eugene's number. "You don't have to answer," Carmen said. But I did, because for the first time in my life I wasn't afraid of his voice. "Ava," he growled, "you have no idea what you started." I thought of my grandmother's letter, of years of stolen opportunities, of a lifetime of being told I wasn't enough. "No, Eugene," I replied, "you have no idea what you finished." I hung up and blocked his number. Outside, the city hummed with possibility, with justice, with revenge served not just cold, but frozen. The emergency family meeting was Sarah Harris's idea. I could tell by the way her office was staged. Water pitchers, notepads, boxes of tissues strategically placed like props in a bad play. "Let's discuss this reasonably," she said, gesturing to the empty chair between my mother and Eugene. I stayed standing. "Nothing reasonable about fraud, is there?" "Eva, please." My mother dabbed at her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. "The country club canceled our membership. Our friends won't return calls. What will people think?" "They'll think exactly what the SEC thinks." I pulled out my grandmother's letter, that Eugene stole from his own family. Eugene lunged for the letter. I stepped back, watching his face turn purple. "Where did you get that?" "Grandma was smarter than you gave her credit for." I handed copies to Sarah, just like I was. Sarah scanned the documents, her professional mask cracking. "Eugene, you told me the original trust was lost." "It was a mistake," he sputtered, "a simple clerical error." $3 million isn't a clerical error," I cut in. "Neither is forging signatures on a dying woman's trust." My mother stood up. "Ava, stop this. We can work something out. A new trust just for you." "With what money?" I pulled out my phone, showing them the latest headlines. "Eugene's assets are frozen. The SEC is investigating every account, and that offshore transfer you tried to hide, it just got flagged for tax evasion." Sarah's hand shook as she reached for her phone. "I need to call my partners." "Why?" I smiled. "Worried about being disbarred for helping hide fraudulent transfers?" She left the room without another word. "You've ruined everything," my mother whispered. "Our reputation, our standing." "Your reputation?" I laughed. You mean the one built on stolen money and lies? Eugene stood up, looming over me like he used to when I was small. You think you're clever? You think you've won? I still have friends in high places. Not anymore. I played the recording from my phone, his voice threatening me earlier. The SEC has this too, along with every document showing how you manipulated Grandma's trust. The door burst open. Caden stormed in, waving his phone. They're repossessing my apartment, my cars, everything. Welcome to real life, I said, where people actually have to work for what they want. He turned to Eugene. Dad, do something. He can't. I pulled up another document on my phone because as of an hour ago, every asset in the family trust has been frozen pending criminal investigation. My mother collapsed into her chair. What do you want? Money? Is that it? We can. I want you to feel what I felt. My voice was steady now, helpless, invisible, watching everything you thought was yours disappear. We're your family, she pleaded. No, you're people who share my DNA. Family doesn't steal from family. Caden lunged at me, but Eugene held him back. You bitter, jealous little. Careful, I warned. The SEC loves family testimony. Want to give them more material? My phone buzzed. David's message read, News outlets have the full story. Running tonight. I showed them the screen. Better get your statements ready. I hear fraud investigations make great headlines. I'll destroy you, Eugene growled. You already tried. I walked to the door. For 29 years you tried to make me nothing, but guess what? I'm not nothing anymore. I'm the person who took everything from you. My mother's sob followed me out. In the hallway, Sarah was arguing frantically with someone on her phone. Eva! Carmen was waiting in the lobby. Are you okay? I saw Caden storm in. I'm fine. I felt lighter than I had in years. Better than fine. The news is everywhere. She showed me her phone. Social media's blowing up. Your mom's friends are posting about betrayal and shock. Let them. I stepped into the sunshine. They wanted to play happy family? Fine. Let's see how happy they are when everyone knows the truth. My phone buzzed again. A text from Jasper. Found something else. Another trust hidden deeper. You need to see this. I showed Carmen the message. Want to help me uncover more family secrets? She linked her arm through mine. Lead the way. Behind us, I could hear Eugene's voice rising, my mother's sobs, Caden's angry shouts, the perfect family falling apart in real time. You know they'll never forgive you, Carmen said softly. I thought about my grandmother's letter about years of watching them take and take while I shrank myself smaller. Good, I said, because I'll never forgive them either. We walked away from the building, leaving behind the ruins of their carefully constructed lies. Tomorrow would bring more revelations, more consequences, more justice, and for once, I couldn't wait. My cousin Maeve's engagement party felt like walking into a hostile territory. Whispers followed me across the garden venue, relatives suddenly finding their champagne glasses fascinating whenever I passed by. Did you hear about Eugene? Tax fraud, can you believe it? And their daughter, the quiet one, she's the one who exposed everything. I always knew there was something off about that family. I sipped my drink and watched my mother's former social circles scatter like startled birds when she appeared. She looked smaller somehow, her designer dress hanging loose, her smile strained as people made excuses not to speak with her. Karma's quite the entertainer, isn't it? Carmen murmured beside me. Before I could respond, Aunt Patricia cornered us by the dessert table. Ava, dear, is it true? Are they really bankrupt? Ask Eugene's lawyers, I replied, or the SEC investigators. They seem to have all the answers. Such a shame. She leaned closer, breath heavy with wine. Though between us, your mother always was a bit too proud. showing off Caden's new cars while you work those little jobs. My phone buzzed. Jasper's message made my heart skip. Found something in the storage unit Eugene's been paying for. Meet me at my office. Urgent. Sorry, Aunt Patricia. Have to run. I found Carmen by the bar. I need to go. Will you be okay here? Me? I'm fine. She gestured at the crowd of gossiping relatives. But Ava, is this what you wanted? All of this? I looked around at the wreckage of my family's social standing. My mother sitting alone, Eugene nowhere to be seen, Caden uninvited after his public meltdown at the country club. I wanted justice, I said. The rest is just collateral damage. Your mom's pension is tied up in litigation now. Did you know that? She should have thought about that before letting Eugene steal my inheritance. Carmen grabbed my arm. Eva, listen to yourself. This isn't you. Maybe it is now. I pulled away. Maybe it's who I had to become. Jasper's office was dark except for his desk lamp. He didn't look up when I entered, too focused on a stack of papers. What did you find? Receipts. He spread them across his desk. For a storage unit Eugene's been paying for in cash since your grandmother died. We got access this morning. And most of it was empty, except for this. He handed me a dusty cardboard box, found it hidden behind some old furniture. Inside were more letters, dozens of them, all addressed to me, spanning years. Birthday cards, Christmas wishes, notes about trust funds and college savings, all from my grandmother. Eugene intercepted all of these, Jasper said quietly, made sure you never saw them. My hands shook as I opened one from 5 years ago. My dearest Ava, I've set aside money for your future. Don't let them make you doubt your worth. You're stronger than they know. There's more, Jasper added. Bank statements showing regular deposits she made for you, investment accounts in your name, all redirected by Eugene after she died. How much? With interest? Close to $5 million? The room spun. I sat down hard. Ava? Jasper's voice seemed far away. Should I call someone? No. I gathered the letters. But I need you to do something else. Can you trace exactly where that money went? He nodded. Already did. Most of it funded Caden's lifestyle. The rest is in offshore accounts Eugene thought we couldn't find. My phone lit up with a text from Carmen. Your mom just left the party crying. She's asking about you. Another message followed, this one from David. Eugene's trying to liquidate more assets, getting desperate. Jasper, I said, release everything we found, all of it. The letters, the accounts, the fraud. Send it to the SEC, the press, everyone. That'll destroy what's left of their reputation. They destroyed my relationship with my grandmother. I clutched the letters. They stole years I can never get back. He started typing. It'll take about an hour to compile everything. Good. I stood up. Because I have one more stop to make. Where? That storage unit. I picked up my grandmother's letters. Something tells me there's more to find. As I left his office, Carmen called. Ava, please, she begged. Think about what you're doing. Some things can't be undone. I thought about all the letters I never received, all the love and support stolen from me, all the years spent feeling worthless while Caden flourished on my stolen future. You're right, I said. Some things can't be undone, but they can be avenged. I hung up and headed for my car, the box of letters beside me like a time bomb waiting to explode. Eugene thought he'd buried all his secrets. He was about to learn how wrong he was. The storage unit smelled like old paper and secrets. My flashlight beam caught dust motes dancing as I moved deeper inside, past stacked furniture and boxes labeled in Eugene's precise handwriting. Something crashed behind me. I spun around, heart racing. Looking for something? Eugene stood in the doorway, silhouetted against the hallway lights. You should be at your lawyer's office, I said, keeping my voice steady. And miss this? He stepped inside. Miss watching you dig through other people's property like some common thief? Other people's property? I held up my grandmother's letters. Like these? The ones you stole from me? He went very still. Where did you get those? Same place I got these. I pulled out the trust documents. Grandma was smarter than you thought. She left a trail. You ungrateful little. He lunged forward, but I was faster, ducking behind a tall cabinet. Careful, Eugene. Assault charges won't look good on top of fraud. You think you've won? He laughed, a harsh sound. You think these little revelations matter? I built this family. You destroyed this family, I corrected, and now everyone knows it. My phone buzzed. The news alert made Eugene's face go pale. Breaking: SEC expands investigation into trust fund fraud. New evidence reveals years of systematic theft. It's over, I said. The offshore accounts, the forged documents, everything. Even Sarah turned on you. She's cooperating with investigators to save herself. Eva? My mother's voice came from the doorway. What are you doing here? Show her, Eugene snapped. Show her how you're destroying everything we built. I handed her the letters. Read them. See what he kept from me, from both of us. Her hands trembled as she read. These are from your grandmother, all these years. While you were helping Caden pick out sports cars, I added, Grandma was trying to secure my future, and Eugene made sure that never happened. I did what was necessary, Eugene snarled. For the family. For yourself, I cut in. Always for yourself. Heavy footsteps echoed down the hallway. David appeared with 2 SEC agents. Perfect timing, I said. The evidence is all here. Every document, every letter, every fraud. Eugene Gray? One agent stepped forward. We have some questions about certain offshore transactions. You can't prove anything, Eugene backed away. Sarah handled all the paperwork. Sarah's singing like a bird, David said. Something about not wanting to be disbarred. My mother sank onto a dusty chair. Ava, please, we can fix this. As a family. Family? I laughed. You want to talk about family now? I pulled out my grandmother's final letter. Listen to this. My dearest Eva, I see how they treat you, how they dismiss your dreams while spoiling Caden. I've made arrangements to protect you, but Eugene is watching. Be strong. Your day will come. I did everything for this family, Eugene shouted as the agents moved toward him. Everything. No, I said quietly. You did everything for yourself, and now you've lost everything. Mrs. Gray, the second agent turned to my mother, we'll need you to come in for questioning as well. She stood shakily. Eva, I didn't know about the letters, about any of it. But you knew how you treated me. I gathered the evidence boxes. You knew every time you chose Caden, every time you looked away, every time you let Eugene erase me. Please, she whispered, I'm your mother. No, I said. You're just someone who gave birth to me. A real mother would have protected her child. As the agents led Eugene away, he turned back one last time. You'll regret this. All of it. No, I smiled. I'll celebrate it. Every day, watching you lose everything you stole from me. David touched my arm. The trust transfers are ready. Everything your grandmother left you, plus interest. It's all yours now. My mother's sob echoed through the storage unit. What about us? What do we do now? I looked at her, really looked at her, maybe for the first time. She seemed smaller, older, stripped of her designer armor and social status. You do what I did, I said. You start over, you work hard, you learn what it's like to be invisible. Eva, Goodbye, Mother. I picked up the box of letters, my real inheritance. I hoped Caden was worth it. Outside, Carmen was waiting by my car. You okay? I watched through the window as the agents led Eugene to their vehicle, my mother following behind like a lost child. I'm free, I said, and for the first time in my life, it was true. The storage unit door clanged shut behind us, locking away the last remnants of my old life. Ahead lay something better, justice, truth, and a future that was finally, completely mine. The cottage windows caught the morning sun perfectly. I sipped coffee on the front porch, watching fall leaves dance across my new lawn when a familiar car pulled into the driveway. Nice place, Carmen said, climbing out with a box of pastries. Very you. Small but mine. I poured her coffee, every penny earned honestly. She settled into the other porch chair. Have you seen the news? About Eugene's sentencing? 8 years feels light? No, about Caden. She pulled up a video on her phone. He's selling crypto investment courses on YouTube. Calls himself a financial freedom coach now. I couldn't help laughing. How the mighty have fallen. Your mother called me again, Carmen said carefully. She's divorcing Eugene. Smart move, bit late though. She wants to see you. I set my coffee down. Why? So she can explain again how she never knew what Eugene was doing? How she was just trying to keep the family together? She's different now. Working as a receptionist, living in a small apartment. She's humble. Karma's funny that way. My phone buzzed. David's message read, Foundation paperwork is ready. Want to review it? I showed Carmen the screen. Remember how I said I wanted to do something meaningful with Grandma's money? The Scholarship Foundation? For young women cut off from family support. I smiled. Seems fitting, doesn't it? A car door slammed outside. Jasper strode up the path, waving a folder. Final report from the forensic audit, he announced, spreading papers across the porch table. Eugene's entire empire mapped out. Every fraud, every theft, every lie. Send copies to the SEC? Already done. He grinned. Sarah Harris is facing disbarment. Turns out she helped hide fraud for other clients, too. Carmen picked up a document. What's this about a new trust? Eugene's last attempt to hide money, Jasper explained. Set up in Caden's name, but guess who actually funded it? Grandma, I said. Exactly, which means it's mine now, I laughed. Oh, the irony. Speaking of irony, Carmen pulled up another news article. The McLaren dealership is suing Caden for defaulting on payments. My phone lit up again. A text from my mother. I understand if you never forgive me, but please know I'm sorry for everything. You going to respond? Carmen asked. Maybe, eventually. I stood up, stretching. But right now, I have a foundation to build. David arrived as we were finishing coffee. The investment portfolio is stabilized. Everything your grandmother left you, plus the recovered funds. You're set for life. Not just me, I said. Every girl who's been told she's not enough, every daughter pushed aside for a favored son, they're set too. Eva, Carmen touched my arm, you did it. You really did it. No. I picked up my grandmother's last letter, worn soft from reading. We did it, Grandma and me. Jasper gathered his papers. One last thing. Eugene's appeal was denied. He's serving the full sentence. Good. I watched a young woman jog past my cottage, waving hello. No designer clothes, no luxury car, just honest happiness. You know what's funny? What's that? Carmen asked. They always told me money couldn't buy happiness. Funny they only started saying that when it wasn't theirs anymore. David raised his coffee cup. To karma. To justice, Carmen added. To Grandma, I said softly, who saw me when no one else did. My phone buzzed one final time. Caden, they're garnishing my wages at the smoothie shop. Happy now? I deleted the message without responding. Some people never learn, but that's not my problem anymore. You know what the best revenge is? I asked, watching the sun climb higher over my little cottage. Living well, Carmen suggested. No, I smiled. The best revenge is helping others live well too, starting with every girl who's ever been told she's not worth investing in. I picked up the foundation paperwork, my grandmother's letter tucked safely inside. The future stretched out before me, bright and clear and finally, completely mine. Not just survival and not just revenge, but something better. Legacy. Ready to change some lives? I asked. Carmen and David stood up. Jasper gathered his files. Together we headed inside to build something new, something honest, something that would make my grandmother proud. Because in the end, the best revenge isn't just taking back what's yours, it's creating something bigger than yourself, something that turns other people's cruelty into kindness, their greed into generosity, something that makes sure no other girl ever feels invisible again.